The Prophet Muhammad ascended from the earth to the heavens in a single night, passing through stars, planets, and galaxies. Allah declares in the Quran that everything between the earth and the sky prostrates to him, meaning stars, galaxies, planets, mountains, and trees. But how can this be? Sajda, prostration, is something we perform in a specific way. Has anyone ever seen stars or planets bowing like humans? Yet Allah repeats in the Quran that all creation worships him. This means there must be a universal form of worship shared by everything. Long ago, people believed the earth was the center of the universe, fixed and unmoving. But about 400 years ago, Galileo, an Italian scientist, aligned two lenses to create a telescope. Smaller telescopes already existed for military and navigation, but Galileo improved the design and for the first time in history, pointed it toward the sky. He studied the sun and the moon closely. Galileo observed the movements of celestial bodies. He noted that Jupiter, a planet so large it equals about 1,300 Earths, was round like the others, and its light shifted across the month. He saw similar changes with Venus and Saturn. This was only possible if these planets were orbiting the sun, not the Earth. Galileo declared that the sun, not the Earth, was the center of the universe. Europe was shaken. The Pope and the Church opposed him fiercely, since they believed the Earth was motionless at the center. For this, Galileo was punished, confined to house arrest for the rest of his life. Yet he continued his work. His findings were eventually accepted worldwide. Centuries later, even the Pope admitted the Church had been wrong, apologizing publicly 350 years after Galileo's death. Humanity learned that the Earth is not the center, it revolves around the sun. And the sun itself is not the greatest object. It is only one star among billions in the Milky Way galaxy. All those stars orbit together in a vast circle. We orbit the sun, but what do billions of suns orbit? At the heart of our galaxy lies a supermassive black hole, millions of times larger than the sun, holding the galaxy in orbit just as the sun holds the planets. And even our galaxy is small compared to the universe. Hundreds of thousands of galaxies form clusters. Clusters form superclusters, and countless superclusters fill the cosmos. Notice this: stars, galaxies, planets, everything shares one feature. All are circling, orbiting something else. When the Prophet ﷺ ascended to the heavens, he did not see angels praying in Bayt al-Ma'mur as we pray on earth. He saw them circling around something. But what does circling have to do with worship? Allah said all things worship him. In Surah Al-Hajj, he revealed this truth. During Hajj, Muslims from every corner of the world gather at the Kaaba, the most sacred place in Islam, and circle it again and again. What does this circling mean? When a believer performs Tawaf around the Kaaba, he is not circling alone. At that moment, the moon, planets, stars, galaxies, and clusters are all engaged in the same cosmic worship. They do not worship like humans. Rather, when we perform Tawaf, we worship like them. Allah said everything prostrates to him. Sajda here is not only the physical act of bowing, it also means submitting to Allah's system and following the laws he established. And Allah did not mention only stars and planets. He included mountains, trees, and animals. These do not orbit like planets, yet they too obey his laws. Long ago in Greece, philosophers proposed that everything is made of tiny particles called atoms. The idea was forgotten for centuries, but about 200 years ago, scientists rediscovered it. They found that atoms are not the smallest units. Inside are protons, neutrons, and electrons. Protons and neutrons remain at the center, while electrons circle around them. Just like planets orbit the sun and stars orbit black holes. This means everything in existence, from the tiniest particles to the largest galaxies, is engaged in a form of tawaf, whether it chooses to or not. So when a Muslim performs tawaf around the Kaaba, he joins a worship that spans the entire universe, from electrons inside atoms to planets, stars, galaxies, and even the angels in Bayt al-Ma'mur. Perhaps this is why Tawaf is counted among the greatest acts of worship in Islam. Thus, when Allah said in Surah Al-Hajj that all things worship him, it does not mean they worship exactly as we do. It means that when we circle the Kaaba, we worship in harmony with them. But everything has a fixed time for its orbit. And when that time ends, every soul will know what it has brought forth. Subscribe.